get 10 million subscribers within 6 months.
Your first video is not going to get views there, and thinking for months and months on end, and just get to work and start uploading everything you.
YouTube storytelling is the art of creating videos that pulls viewers in, keeping them so engaged that they can't look away. This is no accident. Whether you're doing talking head videos, challenges, or cinematic pieces, storytelling is essential. Understanding it allows you to connect with your audience in a way that keeps them coming back. This connection is your most powerful tool, enabling you to create a channel so captivating that viewers will share it. And you probably suck. I'm going to break down how storytelling works, helping you create videos that not only go viral, but also resonate emotionally with your audience. People often elevate the word story like it's some magic trick you need to include. But storytelling isn't just a basic formula from high school English. But before we dive deep into these topics, I'm going to give you a basic understanding so you can have the best explanation possible. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the smallest but arguably the most important part of storytelling. This fundamental is just as simple as understanding your audience. Of course, there are some tips and tricks that I can give you that help you perfectly understand who is actually going to want to watch your videos, which I'm going to explain 2 more things and then I'll explain how you can do that. To keep things moving, you're going to want to create a flow and vibe that's actually attached to your video. A popular method that I actually use myself is a strategy called forward motion. This method is actually something that every single pro YouTuber uses to keep their videos engaging and keep viewers watching. And a crucial part of all of this is actually to keep your viewers on the edge of their seats. Hands down, the easiest way to do that is to incorporate tension in your videos. Tension was designed specifically to keep audiences entertained and immersed. This is the most simple and basic concept to master because you only have to do it once. Let's get into it. While most people are just wasting their time hyper editing their videos, pros understand that what I'm about to tell you is what you do before you even think about making your first video. And of course, I'm talking about understanding your audience. It sounds simple, right? Well, that's because it really just is simple. The question I often get asked is, why don't we just create videos and see who our audience ends up being, and then we make the decision of what should we do to optimize? Here's how you can look at it. The thing is, that does sound like a good idea, but there's just too many sources and too many YouTubers already out there that have established audiences that you can just leech information out of. They already have a proven structure for any audience you can virtually think about. Think about structure as Legos, like your video is just a Lego set. Putting your video together should be the same for each video you make. A simple way of trying to create your own structure is simply just find a creator in your niche. For example, we got fitness. We have fitness, learning, and something like makeup. Figure out which niche you will actually want to do first, and then after that, create a list of creators in that niche. And we can just take a deeper dive into all of them. Now, I'm not going to do that, but once you find that person you want to base your structure off, you need to study their videos. But we could go into it basically. Sam Sulik averages 1 minute between every cut. But on the other hand, somebody like Mr. Beast is getting 1 to 2 seconds per cut. This can tell us many different things. What's the difference between their audience? Well, people who are watching Sam Sulik, they come to his channel because they know that there's going to be someone there who they can connect with. It feels like they're talking to a person and just sitting there, or even just listening to a person. They want to have that connection. Mr. Beast, they come there for entertainment. They come there for a dopamine rush and not really get anything out of it. What's different about them? Like, what's actually different about them? To be honest, it's mainly about age. Mr. Beast's audience, average age, it's just 12 years old. While somebody like C-Bum or Sam Sulik, it's gonna be more of those 20, 30-year-olds. You see what I'm saying? The people who don't hyper edit their videos, their audiences are younger. But we can also notice another thing. Mr. Beast's videos are saturated with colors. His thumbnails, his intros, they're full of noise, they're full of sound. You can see that he uses bright colors like yellow, red, blue, green, because he knows that's what kids' brains link to. They just learn those colors. They see that bright, oversaturated, overexposed everything. Everything is made for that audience. He knows what he's doing. And once you understand your niche, you can know what you are doing too. And who knows, maybe you will be the next Mr. Beast. But also, do your own research on the niche that I haven't mentioned in this video. For example, you can have some sort of niche that's new. You might have to be the one that starts the trend. But I advise that you choose a niche that's already proven to succeed. There's less risk, there's more reward, and you have a better feel going into it. But again, every niche is different, so I'm going to tell you guys a secret. It's really about what the viewer expects to watch before they click on your video. Sam Sulek is actually using this secret to keep his viewers coming back. When his viewers come back, they want to connect with him. They want to feel like they're talking to somebody. I know I just said that. Now that I told you the secret, you can understand it. My biggest tip I can give to you guys is actually be really picky with how you structure your videos. One mistake can ruin and lose thousands and thousands of hours of watch time. Along with understanding specific details to your audience, you must also understand the widespread basic human psychology. This next strategy I'm going to show you is usually called a manipulative strategy, but honestly, if you're okay with that, keep watching because I'm about to spill the sauce for you. Understanding how to keep your viewer and audience engaged using tactics like tension is used throughout many movies, films, and popular creators. This is actually how you are tricked into liking certain things. Here's how it could actually be considered manipulation. So in nature, like from our roots, you know, back when we were caveman and all that blah blah blah, that feeling of tension and suspense was literally used to keep humans alive. Mainly it was used for when predators were nearby and humans would get that feeling, you know, in your heart or like in your legs, like you want to go, you want to run, or you want to stay safe, fight. It's actually linked to the fight or flight response. The reason that suspense is so effective is because when you immerse your audience and then you put suspension and tension on them, you then create a feeling for the viewer that's instinctual. They feel like something is going to happen to them. But since we now understand the basic form and psychology behind tension, we can now learn and incorporate more advanced methods to successfully immerse our audience. Okay, now it's the fun part. We are going to be using human emotion against our audience. You don't actually have to use fear as your tension or as your psychological high ground. You can indirectly promise your audience that something good will happen. For example, if you watch this video from start to end, your channel will blow up due to your new learned skills and incorporating them in your next video. Of course, that was a really specific and obvious promise. If you can learn how to make a promise that is desirable to your audience, they will feel like they have to trust you, and in turn, they will feel connected to you as a viewer. I don't know how many people know this, but my favorite method to creating tension is actually using the show don't tell method. Let's imagine that you're watching a horror story and someone is... Wait, I can just show you. It's actually very cold outside. But this next tip I'm gonna give you is so useful that nothing will stop me from going out and teaching you. Let's get to it. Before we get into my secret spot, I just have one more thing that I want to explain to you, and it's arguably more important than suspension. Well, we could tie it in together. And that thing is, of course, sound effects. Wait, that's backwards. Okay, that's much better. We don't want to overuse them, but we also don't want to underuse them. Obviously, that makes sense, right? Movies, well, horror movies, more specifically, are actually notorious for using risers. They're actually called tension risers. If you can see, it's actually in the name, so you gotta trust it. This is what tension risers look like, and this is what they sound like. Yeah, it's getting really cold, so let's get to moving. Yeah, there we are. All right, we are on our way there now. All right, so we made it to the spot. This place was once rumored to be owned by someone who loved dissecting animals for his own evil desires. We got some walking to do before we make it to the spot. So I was basically saying no, it's probably just the wind. Alright, so we're out here, and I can finally explain what I wanted to explain. But before we get started, I just want to make this clear. Do not overuse the tension elements. The viewer will feel overwhelmed, and you yourself will lose your overarching plot. Okay, so you're probably wondering, why did I come out here to explain something to you when it's negative 10 degrees outside? It's pretty simple. The scene around me is pretty spooky, especially since it's the winter time. It's pretty spooky, but we are literally just in a national park right now. But it is pretty snowy here, so we gotta fix that a little bit. So understanding this next method literally forces your video to move seamlessly. This is actually the first thing that they teach you in those paid courses, but this information is free, but not for long. So listen up. But I actually purposely left it out not too long ago. Did you catch it? Just in case you didn't, let's take a look. What I wanted to explain. Rewind this video 10 to 20 seconds and come back when you spot it. Okay, are you back yet? Let me explain. I ended the video abruptly. Most would think that that was a good thing because of tension and suspension. Even though this leaves you guys on a cliffhanger, it's actually a mistake. I can explain, but I'll let past me explain for you. Although it would be a good tension builder, it would also be overkill. In a video like this, I still have way more to say after that. Okay, enough of my yapping. I'll spill the secret. This strategy is actually called forward motion. And of course, not all of you are making videos in the forest just to creep out your audience. So how can you do it? Here's how I can explain it to you. So let's think about forward motion as a river that you're trying to cross. And in this scenario, you will be the viewer. Let's say you're starting here. This is you. And you want to get to the other side. So basically, that journey is just your viewer watching your video. How do you expect them to go from here to here? It's not gonna happen, right? We can make it easier for them. We can place a little stepping stone for them there. Okay, yeah, they can jump from here to here. That's not too bad. Here to here, still a little bit too much. So to help our audience fully be able to interact with our video, we need to guide them along it, kind of like a tour guide. So all of these stepping stones are just the elements of your video that help your viewer get through it. So this is like here, tension. This could be your editing. This could be structure, so on and so forth. So basically, forward motion is what ties in all of those elements that I explained to you before. So if you're wondering, how can I incorporate all these elements? Boom. Through forward motion, use it in order. Forward motion can help with that. You just need to remember your video is like trying to cross a river, and the water is just your viewers not wanting to watch your video. If you help them, if you build stones for them and guide them across those stones, your viewer won't leave. They will get across the river, and then they'll go to more of your videos, cross more videos. Honestly, if you take away one thing from this video, this is the one thing you need to take right here. Forward motion. Please remember that. Watch this segment back a couple of times. I could go really into depth about this because this is one of my favorite elements of all of storytelling. If you guys want to see a video about that, comment down below. I'll post an hour-long video about this. I'm passionate about this here. Now, if you're wondering, why am I in my room and not at the creek? And that is because it's still snowing. So I don't know if you've noticed it, but I've been using these immersive elements on you this whole video. Don't believe me? Let's take a look. Every single part of my video was planned, and it went according to that plan. There are some things throughout my video that I did that may have not seemed important, played a big role in the plot of my story. So the intro is the intro, right? I explained what I'm going to be talking about. I said, do this and it will work. And then I transitioned by saying that there's some things you need to learn before I can fully get you to understand what I'm trying to teach you. So each part where there's an arrow right here, that's a transition. Transitions don't have to just be a cut. They could be as simple as just saying, this is what I'm going to do next. Like what I did. I said, I'm going to be teaching you what to do. And then I taught you what to do. And now here we are explaining. The way I transitioned into this was by giving you a hook. I said, I've been doing this to you the whole time. Did you notice? And even in the categories themselves, I gave you transitions. I said, it's cold outside. I gotta put on stuff. I got into my car, and then I showed my journey to that secret spot. But I already do know that the people who were paying attention and were trying to learn actually did notice those things. But I don't even think that those people noticed what I did to keep you guys engaged for the whole video. I used the most sneaky, tricking, manipulative method I could possibly come up with, and I'm gonna explain it to you now. This is just what you guys see. But if we zoom in a little bit, I'll show you what actually happened. It was when I was first explaining tension right before I got into the forest. Do you remember when I mentioned the show don't tell method earlier in the video? Well, I actually purposely didn't explain what that was right after mentioning it. That seems counterintuitive. Or is it? I looked at my script and I knew that the next part of the video would be hard to follow and out of place. I decided to drop an interesting topic that even had its own name. So in your brain, you're thinking, wow, this is a established topic. It's a concept that most storytellers must know. I must listen up for the next part. But then I didn't even explain what it was in the next part. I just talked about tension and risers and a bunch of mumbo jumbo. But you still paid attention, and that's because I literally tricked your brain into staying to watch. So in between these two topics, that's when I said show don't tell. So after you're done with this one, your attention is going down. But since you stuck around, you deserve to know what it is. So here you go. So I've made a little drawing here to explain what show don't tell is. So basically, instead of using the same old monotone, boring explanations that you have been doing, I recommend doing less talking and more doing. You can do this by simply being creative. Well, I literally went out into the forest to explain a simple topic to you just to keep it more entertaining. I know that to entertain my audience, I need to do something new. And this is just easier than most people think. You need to just sit down. What I did was I just combined two different elements, two different structures together. I'm not gonna say what, I'm gonna keep that to myself, but try to do it for your own niche. Now, not everybody is gonna be going out into the forest, out into the creek, just to explain things like this. Some people don't have access to that, and usually it just wouldn't make sense. But let's say, for example, you're playing a video game. You can use your facial expressions and body language to show your audience what you are actually feeling. Of course, if you get mad, you can rage for the camera, but what audiences really want to see is you like breaking everything, smashing everything, yelling. They usually just find that entertaining. You can see like Mr. Lust, he's always clicking his keyboard hard, or Deller, he was like the most famous streamer just because of his anger issues. Just think about it. Who is gonna watch your videos if you're just staring into the camera or staring into your screens like this? And disclaimer, please don't go breaking your setups just because I said it's gonna be good for views. I'm not responsible for any damaged hardware, housing, real estate, families. Okay, signing that waiver now, that's not on me. Great, you have just completed the master class of storytelling. Use these elements in your next video and you will be famous. But wait, I did leave some parts out. Of course, intentionally, as you guessed it. If you look closely in my video, you can see certain words I used, you can see certain frames, certain cuts, just the way I present myself. But the real pieces of gold are in my script. So go down below, click on transcribe, and search. If you find it, let me know below in the comments. Cleansing my soul of addiction.